This video is a walkthrough of the first few turns of an example game. It should give you an idea of what a game of FFTCG is like. The prequel to this video, and there's a link in the description, is a tutorial that explains the key concepts and main mechanics of the game. It may be useful to watch that first if you're unfamiliar. And now, let the show begin. Both players draw a starting hand of 5 cards. They can choose to keep this, or mulligan, which means putting those 5 to the bottom of the deck and drawing a new set of 5. Let's say that both players choose to keep their starting hands. To decide who goes first, usually they will both roll a die and the person with the higher number will choose. Let's say we are player A and we're going first. There are no characters on the field to activate, so we go straight to the draw phase. We draw 1, not 2, because it's the first turn of the game, and then we move to main 1. We decide to play the backup Nadji, which costs 4 CP and is fire element. We discard 2 cards to generate 4 CP, including at least 1 fire card. We then spend this to play Nadji onto the field and backups enter dull. Nadji has an auto ability that says when he enters the field, we may search our deck for a forward that is Job Warrior. We pause to give our opponent a chance to respond to this stack if they want to. They say it's fine to proceed, so we pick up our deck and find a target card, which will be Tybus. We show the target to the opponent, add it to our hand, and then shuffle the deck. We don't want to play any other characters, and there are no forwards to attack, so we can go straight to ending our turn. Player B can then begin their turn. Player B has no characters on the field to activate, so they go straight to the draw phase. They draw 2 cards. And then start main 1. They discard 2 Earth Element cards to generate 4 CP. They play the backup Clarus onto the field and backups enter dull. Clarus has an auto ability that says when he enters the field, the player may search their deck for a card with the job Ping. They pause to give us a chance to respond to this stack if we want to. We say it's fine to proceed. So they pick up their deck and find a target card, which is the backup Epitaph. They show us, add it to their hand, and then shuffle their deck. They don't want to play any more characters, and they don't have any forwards to attack, so they go straight to ending their turn. Now it's back to our turn. We activate our backup. We draw 2 cards. And then we can begin main phase 1. We decide to play the forward Tybus, which we searched from Nadji on the last turn. Tybus costs 5 CP and is fire element. We dull our backup to generate 1 fire CP and discard 2 cards to generate another 4 CP, which gives us 5 in total. We then spend this to play Tybus onto the field. Tybus has an auto ability that says when he enters the field, we may search our deck for a card with Job Warrior. We pause to give our opponent a chance to respond to this stack if they want to. Tybus also has an action ability. We can pay 0 CP to play a card that is Job Warrior and costs 3 CP or less onto the field, i.e. without having to pay the cost. We intend to use this once we've searched. Our opponent doesn't want to respond to Tybus's auto ability, so that means we can pick up our deck and find a target, which will be the forward Mog. We show the target to our opponent, add it to our hand, and then shuffle our deck. We activate Tybus's action ability and pay the cost of 0 CP. We pause to give the opponent a chance to respond to this stack if they want to. They say it's fine to proceed. So we resolve Tybus's action ability and play Mog onto the field. Mog has an auto ability that says when he enters the field, draw one card. Again, we pause to give the opponent a chance to respond to this stack. They say it's fine to proceed, so we can draw one card. We don't want to play any more characters, and our forwards don't have haste, so they can't attack on this turn. So therefore, we can go straight to ending our turn. And now it's back to player B. Player B activates their backup. They draw 2 cards. And they go to main phase 1. They dual their backup to generate 1 Earth CP and discard 1 card to generate another 2 CP to give them 3 CP in total. They use this to play the backup Epitaph that they searched on the last turn, and backups enter dull. Epitaph has an auto ability that says when he enters the field, the player may search their deck for a forward that is category FFTCG. They pause to give us a chance to respond to this stack. We decide to add to the stack by using Mog's action ability. The cost is to put Mog into the break zone, and then our opponent will not be able to search on their turn, i.e. Epitaph won't be able to do his search. Player B doesn't have any other abilities or summons to add to the stack, and neither do we. So the stack resolves in reverse order. Mog's action ability resolves first, and it says that during this turn our opponent cannot search. Epitaph attempts to resolve, but the search is not permitted because of Mog's resolved ability. Player B doesn't want to play any more characters, and they don't have any forwards to attack, so they go straight to ending their turn. It's back to us again. We activate our dual backup. We draw 2 cards. And we begin main 1. We decide to play the backup Joseph, which costs 5 CP and is fire element. We dual our backup to generate 1 fire CP and discard 2 cards for a further 4 CP, which gives us 5 in total. We spend the fire CP to play Joseph onto the field. Joseph has an auto ability that says when he enters the field, we may search our deck for a card with the job Rebel and of cost 2 or less and play it onto the field, i.e. without having to pay the cost. We pause to give our opponent a chance to respond, and they say it's fine to proceed. We pick up our deck and find a target card, which is the backup Minwu. We show Minwu to our opponent, play him to the field, and then shuffle our deck. Minwu has an auto ability that says when he enters the field, we choose 1 character and freeze it. We choose player B's backup, Clarice. Player B doesn't respond, so the effect is resolved. To indicate that Clarus is frozen, they rotate him upside down. On their next turn, in the active phase, they will rotate Clarus from upside down to sideways, i.e. he'll still be dull and he won't be able to generate CP on that turn. We activate Tybus's action ability by paying 0 CP. Player B doesn't respond, so we can resolve the effect. We play the forward Firion onto the field. Firion has a field ability that says if we control 5 or more characters, then he gains haste, and also he'll gain an auto ability that when he attacks, he will draw a card. Now that we have some forwards that can attack, we don't need to skip the attack phase this turn. We enter the attack phase and tell our opponent that we would like to declare an attack, i.e. that we don't want to use any summons or abilities in the preparation phase. Player B says that they don't want to use any summons or abilities either. Since we control 5 characters, Firion's field ability is activated and he gains haste, which means he can attack even though he entered this turn. We attack with Firion and dull him. Firion's field ability also means that he gains an auto ability that when he attacks we draw a card. We pause to give our opponent a chance to respond to this. They say it's fine to proceed, so we draw a card. Player B does not have any forwards to block, so they must take a point of damage. They place the top card of their deck into the damage zone, like this. The card is the forward Ingus, which has an EX burst. Player B chooses to activate their EX burst, which says they may search their deck for an Earth forward and add it to their hand. EX bursts resolve immediately without creating a stack, which means we can't respond even if we wanted to. Player B picks up their deck, finds the card they want, shows us their choice, adds it to their hand, and then shuffles their deck. The card is the forward Genova Synthesis. Now we can choose whether to attack with Tybus as well, or not to attack and just move to main phase 2. We decide to attack with Tybus as well, so we start the attack preparation step again. We tell our opponent that we'd like to declare another attack, i.e. we don't want to use any abilities or summons first. Player B says that they don't want to either. We declare an attack with Tybus and dull him. Again, player B doesn't have any forwards to block, so they have to take a point of damage. This card doesn't have an EX burst, so there are no effects to trigger. We don't have any more forwards that can attack, so we can end the attack phase and move to main phase 2. We don't want to play any more characters, so we go straight to the end phase. We end our turn, leading the damage score by 2 points to 0 as player B begins their next turn. Hopefully that gives you a better idea of what a game of FFTCG is like. Here are some of the key points to remember which you may have already noticed yourself. Normally, the strategy is to play at least one backup as your first character. A typical game involves searching your deck for a card, particularly in the first few turns of the game when you're looking to set up your backups or key forwards such as Tybus. You can skip phases to speed things up, particularly in the early turns when you're less likely to have forwards that can attack. It's helpful to pause whenever you trigger an ability or move between the phases or the attack steps so that your opponent has a chance to respond by adding to the stack. Similarly, if you don't want to respond to a trigger caused by your opponent, it's helpful to confirm this to them. This all helps the game flow smoothly. Thank you for watching, good luck and have fun!